Hey creative friends, Jessica here. I have what could be a brilliant idea to do with my Scribble Sticks, or maybe not so brilliant. Let's find out how it works today. I'm going to share this little tip with you of another way to use Scribble Sticks. Hi, I'm Jessica Sanders. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so the idea is to cut off the ends of the Scribble Stick with my trusty box cutter and put them in these watercolor pans. And it just so happens that the pans fit perfectly. Let me use one that doesn't have the insert inside a Scribble Sticks container, and I have the ones that have magnets on them. If you don't have the little watercolor pans that have magnets on them, you can do like I have these leftover ones that don't have magnets, and you can buy this like a roll of magnetic tape. It's already adhesive, and put it on the bottom of your pans. So pretty cool that you can easily do that. These are really inexpensive. I'll leave some links below. Those are affiliate links, so I do get compensated for that, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. It helps support my channel. So I'll leave links below for the Scribble Sticks and the pans. I'll try to leave it for the magnetic tape. And if you have any questions about any of the supplies, be sure and ask me in the comments. That's the idea. I can't take full credit for it because Dina actually told me about a girl who I think she said was from Austin on Instagram, and I'm so sorry I can't remember her name. Yeah, so if that's you, please let us know down below. I'd love to credit you. She uses Scribble Sticks as watercolor, and she scrapes them into the pans somehow. So I don't know exactly how that works, but that sounded a little bit like, well, it sounded like a lot of work to me for the scraping part. And I'm not into the as much detail as some people are, and I think that's great that some people are into that kind of detail, but I'm not, so I just thought I'm just going to cut off the ends. I also need a paper to swatch basically my Scribble Sticks watercolor set, and I've taken some Dina Wakley cotton watercolor paper with this and cut it down to size. I just used the tin to do that. I overlapped it a little, traced the bottom of the tin, and then cut it out with my paper trimmer. And then I drew these lines. I'll have a time lapse for that for you really quick. I have my swatching paper, I have my Scribble Sticks, my pans, my tape, magnetic tape, box cutter, a cutting mat, and I think it's time to get started. So I'm going to get all of these organized. I'm going to put them in 1, 2, 3 sets, 1, 2, 3 in the same order that they're in here on the containers, and that will make it easy for me to label them, and I'll label the swatches. Okay, so that's a whole lot of information about what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to time-lapse most of that, and I'll talk my way through some of it as well. Okay, let's get started.
So the first thing I wanted to do was actually put the sticks in order the way they look on the tins. And I actually, because I wasn't sure of all the names, I actually looked online to find out what all the names were and put them in order by name. And that worked out pretty well. It did take a little bit of time, but it's going to be well worth it when I get ready to use my Scribble Sticks in my art journaling process.
Here's set 1, set 2, and set 3. I'm going to put them in the rows, and all I'm going to do is take my knife and where there's the paper, cut it. There we go, in the first little pan. Now, when I add water to this, it's going to get mushy. Right now, it's going to move all around, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put water now or later, but there it is. So that's how I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to speed up this process, and you can watch it in super fast motion.
So I did find that some of the Scribble Sticks were a little bit harder to cut than others, but it worked well with the box cutter. In hindsight, I probably should not have used my cutting mat. I probably should have put it on like a piece of cardboard or something, because that's not the right kind of cutter to use with a cutting mat. So the next step is to label all of my spaces. I did make a mistake in the order. Somehow I skipped one, so I had to go back and sort of white it out. but it worked out just fine, and I just kept on going. I am using a Sharpie marker, which is waterproof, so that when I get the paper wet by putting and swatching the colors on there, it's not going to move the ink at all. After putting all of the labels down, I combined my Scribble Sticks into 2 of the Scribble Sticks containers because I have all 3 sets, and then I put my pans into the empty one. And now the fun part begins because I get to swatch all of these colors and see how they look from their darkest, most true, richest color all the way to that really light and vibrant, watery watercolor effect color. I just love it so much. It was especially fun to do the metallics. They're so shimmery and pretty, and it was just lovely.
So here is my pan, my pan of Scribble Sticks in a Scribble Stick container, which is pretty cool if you ask me. These little watercolor pans, they fit nicely. These are half pans. I did not really think through the placement. I didn't test to see if 12 would fit across, but it worked out just fine because look, I can put this in between these. I mean, I have extra space for no reason, but that's okay. It's not a big deal, right? So that part I didn't think through. So this doesn't quite match the layout. So when I put it in here, I'll still though be able to tell from the rows. So here's Penny all the way down to Sand. So Penny all the way down to Sand. Here's Magenta all the way down to White, etc. So I'll still be able to tell. They're not going to move around. If you saw any moving around in my swatching video, it's because there are a few that I don't have magnets on yet, and I'm just going to cut a little magnet strip off of here and put it on the back, but I need to let them dry first. And I have all these lovely swatches. The thing I think I really love Scribble Sticks, I love their versatility. They're not considered watercolor crayons, as Dina has described them as sticks of pigment. So they don't have any wax or anything like that in there. I don't know what their binder is, honestly. I don't know what the binder is, but they work really nicely as watercolors. So you can see they swatch out to be really nice and transparent, but they are quite opaque. So in a way they remind me of gouache a little bit because they are opaque and you can't see through them very well, which is great when you're using the craft paper in the journal, right? So I love them for that, and I think they're going to be great as this sort of watercolor Scribble Stick set, and I'm excited to try them out. But that's all for today. I wanted to swatch them all, share with you how I set up this watercolor Scribble Sticks palette, and I'll be using this in the future. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you very soon.